Good morning guys, how are we all doing? So Dan from Trading with Dan here. This is our Bitcoin morning update. So we will go over to those charts. So yeah, you can see just a bit of consolidation going on at this well, support zone. We'll call it a support zone because we're above it. If we were below it, we'd call it a resistance zone, but we'll say we're getting supported by it, which is good. This is a good bullish daily candle. We've got follow through in that candle, and now we are holding above this 9,000 level. So it is actually looking good, I would say, technically wise. Yeah, that's good on the daily. We will notice if we have a look here on the daily stochastic, we can see we did get supported by this trend line, which I think is pretty important. So because obviously dropping out of this trend line could obviously trigger, we were expecting a big move. Dropping out of this would basically tell us that the move is potentially going to be down. But if we can bounce from here and break out the top of this tightening formation, then that will be extremely bullish for Bitcoin, and then I think we'll be having some pretty high prices pretty quickly. So we definitely got to keep an eye on this formation, because one of these trend lines, pretty clear trend lines, is going to have to break, and I think that move will probably get quite a bit of follow through. We can see on the 12-hour we're also moving up on the 12-hour Stokes, so that's good as well. We did have this trend line drawn in, not that it's as important. It's the same trend line, just on a different time frame, but you can see it still is efficacious. So if you get back up into here and then potentially break out the top of this trend line, which would obviously be a bit different on this 12-hour time frame, but it just saves the same one. Look on, so I can't keep changing it. But yeah, then we could be looking for a big move up here. So again, you guys know I always say it's predicated on what the stock market does. You can see 4 hours are pretty toppy though. So we could see either just some consolidation at this zone we're at now, whilst the 4 hours ease off a bit, so they can then have another push up, or we will see a bit of downside, maybe around the 9,400 level again, like we did yesterday, really. So yeah, I mean, it's a case of we're gonna have to break out this little tiny range at some point. We know low volatility leads to high volatility, so we've currently got low volatility, and a bit of what is we can draw this on now anyway, as a bit of a pattern we've got going on here, a bit of a pennant. So that this is kind of what we're looking to break out of, this sort of pennant here. So we don't have too long left in it, and obviously pennants don't wait till the exact end. I mean, this is the point that we can definitely break out at any point. So maybe we're going to look at a bit of that expanding this daily volatility. Look, that's just dead. That's just completely flatline. Look, it hasn't really done this many times in Bitcoin's price history, not for this long anyway. We've got like a point here where we had it basically for a little bit longer. So if you look at what the price action did there after that period, I mean, yeah, so it was this period here. And then obviously the expansion was this move basically from 10,000 down to 8,000. So that's like a $2,000 move after that daily tightening. So I mean, is that what we're looking at, a $2,000 move? It is quite likely. Let's see if we've got another occasion down here. So let's see what happened to price action there when we consolidated. I mean, I guess you guys can maybe see where this is going. So we had this consolidation, this low vol on the daily for this long, and then obviously it started to expand, and then we just obviously predicated that massive move up. Well, let's look at one more example. This one, I mean, this one here is a clear example, daily low volatility, and then we obviously pretty much break all the way down to basically a 50% sale. So yeah, so we have got this similar signature now in the price action here, flat line in daily volatility. So we are expecting a big move. It may come straight away, it may start to move down a little bit first and then start to move, but we're expecting a $2,000 move here, guys. So and I would say we're expecting it soon. So yeah, so I mean, this is just a small pennant. I mean, you can see it in the scale of what's going on. It's a small pennant within a bigger pennant, but I mean, we've got to make a move, basically, guys. We've got to make a move from this formation. We're in a formation. The formation is looking like an ascending triangle, but I mean, if you are gonna, you could potentially try and draw it nice an ascending triangle, but I think it's not the clearest one. But I do think it is, especially seeing if we move up to 9,700 for sure. And then so this definitely looks like we're moving away from this bottom. It would look like 3 very good efficacious touches towards the bottom line, and then more buying pressure. So I would say really then you definitely have to lean to the bullish side, and obviously $2,000 from here is going to take us basically to 11,500 to the upside, which is this zone here. So, and that puts in all sorts of macro plays on the table. So I mean, we could just then see, I mean, we could see enormous volatility. I mean, like I just showed you, this level of volatility on the daily has then, when it's led to expansion, has led to a 50% discount in the price of Bitcoin. So if we have a 50% increase in the price of Bitcoin, or if we have a doubling in the price of Bitcoin, because a 50% decrease is a halving of the size of the price of Bitcoin, I mean, that puts us near all-time highs, doesn't it, guys? Hey, but anyway, the downside is still very likely here, guys. I mean, we cannot rule out the downside for certain. We're obviously making these lower highs, and fair enough. We're giving it the best test at these highs. Well, I say these highs, but at this trend line, the best test we've given. We didn't stay here for long there, we didn't stay here for long there, we didn't stay here for long there. I mean, this obviously wasn't the trend line at the time, clearly, but we didn't stay long at that price. This look, you can see this is different. You can see this is different here, and what does my instinct tell me about this? Okay, so these are the factors that I'm looking at. We've got this larger time frame pennant, this very macro pennant. We're mature in this formation, right? Okay, we've got that. We have got this. I mean, this is still a pretty. I mean, this is the price action on Bitcoin from 2017. You can see this is still a sizable formation within this formation. So we've got an ascending triangle, which is a bullish formation coming off a big move up, and also we're basically consolidating in at or at over this trend line, this longer term trend line. So I mean, you could argue that this is already broken, and we're just waiting for the market to realize and start buying up. So does that look bullish to me? We are mature in this formation. We gave the bottom side a test, a very sharp, swift test. We obviously liquidated a lot of long positions. We created a lot of liquidity. And that's then been brought back up. We're now sat at the top of this mature formation, maybe even out of that formation, and then we're sat in a shorter time frame formation here, which is a bullish formation, and especially off a bullish move makes it more likely to be a continuation of the overall move. And also, like I said, we've got some serious decision making going on here. Not that we didn't really get at these levels. You can just tell we got here, we got to the trend line. The bulls didn't really believe it. They didn't put any buying pressure, they didn't put any resistance up to the bulls, and then the bulls tanked the price. I mean, pretty much the same here. We got here, the bulls didn't really believe it. We couldn't close any candles really daily. Oh, okay, guess we did just on this. I mean, we struggled to close. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, look at the amount of candles we've got actually closing above this level at the moment, compared to how many we got closed up there. And then when was the last one? Sorry. Oh, the last one was the 20k one. should have known that, shouldn't I? So what I'm saying is, right, we're expecting a big move. Right, this is all I'm saying. We are expecting a big move, and on the balance of probabilities, I would say that move is likely up. Obviously, you guys know I talk about stock markets a lot. Stock markets, the correlation. stock markets are basically near their all-time highs. Regardless of what's going on, stock markets are at their all-time highs. As ridiculous as it may seem, stock markets are at their all-time highs, and as bad as the economy may be, stock markets are at their all-time highs, nearly, pretty much. And also, I mean, what's going to happen going forward? Are people going to become more or less optimistic as the markets reopen and the world economy reopens? I mean, they're going to probably be more optimistic. So yeah, it is a pretty bullish case, and I'm not just saying this just obviously for the sake of it. If we were consolidating at the bottom of this formation and it wasn't just like a wick below, I mean, like we were doing here, this was looking pretty bearish. But I mean, how did we even really have a trend line? Did we have anything going on here? Not really. We weren't really in a formation, not a formation that we knew at the time. So this obviously did look particularly bearish. I mean, that's obviously kind of why you can maybe see we didn't spend a lot of time. We spent quite a bit of time down there contemplating the future of Bitcoin's price. But yeah, so I do feel like I've gone on about this for quite a bit this morning, but this is kind of what I'm seeing here on the larger time frames, and I'm sure you guys will agree from a technical standpoint, because it is just technical analysis. There's no real bias involved. It's just what I'm seeing for our time frame. So we will go to these shorter term time frames. We have clearly drawn this pennant in that we're looking at, so we are looking at a break. I mean, of this shorter time frame move. I mean, if you consider this is a bull flag, this is the flagpole, which clearly will take us above 9,000. This basically area, which then I think we could start triggering all sorts of cascade reactions into higher time frames. Similarly, if it breaks to the downside, I mean, obviously you can't extrapolate the same flagpole extension. You can only really extrapolate the pennant size. So that will take us back into into this zone here. So maybe that could be just another test of the trend line, break us down. This is a very small time frame, and then we'll get picked up again, and then potentially blast off to the moon. So it's definitely interesting times, because we are definitely expecting a big move soon. That much I think is definite. I mean, nothing is definite in trading, but that is what I think anyway. So so that's it, guys, for this morning. So remember, this is not a financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Always do your own research, and I'll speak to you guys soon.